The Chernobyl disaster, located in Pripyat, Ukraine at the Chernobyl nuclear power plant, was a catastrophic event that released 400 times more radioactive material than the bombing of Hiroshima. The power plant's fourth reactor exploded, throwing hot particles of nuclear fuel and radioactive fission products such as cesium-137, iodine-131, strontium-90, and other radionuclides. This event resulted for all the residents of Pripyat to be evacuated out of the city and is still abandoned until today. At 1:23 a.m. on April 26, 1986, all the employees of Reactor 4 launched an experiment for a self-fueling system in hopes for saving energy, but all goes wrong when a suspected power increase happened in the reactor, initiating the emergency shutdown systems to alleviate the random power increase. Instead of decreasing the power by initiating the emergency systems, the power increased to tremendous amounts, locking up in the reactors and mechanisms, crushing control rods and filler rods within the reactor systems, which both contain high levels of radioactive fission products. Shortly after, steam buildup was producing, and eventually Reactor 4 blew up like a melting crock pot, shooting a radiant stream of radioactive particles 1,000 meters up in the late morning sky. The Chernobyl power plant firefighters were the first ones to be on the scene to take out the other fires around the plant. We were told that they were caused by an electric problem, so the right equipment was not worn to be safe from the radiation. Then followed the local firefighters, and the fire was contained by sunrise, but Reactor 4 continues to be on fire until May 10, 1986, and was extinguished by helicopters with over 500 metric tons of sand, lead, clay, and neutron-absorbing boron. 2 died that day from the direct blast of the reactor, and 28 of the rescue workers died within a few months after the disaster due to acute radiation sickness.
Pripyat was not immediately evacuated after the radiation explosion. The people of the city went on about their daily lives and were not informed. Citizens immediately following the explosion began to feel sick, and a few people died. It was not until 24 hours later that a full evacuation of Pripyat was ordered and environmental justice guidelines were beginning to be met. The disaster affected Europe and Pripyat environmentally. Approximately 100,000 kilometers squared of land was significantly contaminated with fallout radiation, with the worst hit regions in Belarus, Ukraine, and Russia. Radiation contamination was detected all over Europe except for the Iberian Peninsula. The contamination grew as far as Sweden, which was 620 miles from the Chernobyl plant. It was when it hit Sweden on 28th of April 1986 that the Soviet Union had to publicly announce that the accident had occurred. There were 2 official explanations of the accident. The first would be an operator error, and the second is the lack of operating instructions, which are structural errors during construction. For operator error, the catastrophic accident was caused by gross violations of operating rules and regulations. The operator error was probably due to the lack of knowledge of nuclear reactor physics and engineering, as well as a lack of experience and training. For structural errors, there were previous reports of structural damages caused by negligence during construction of the plant, such as splitting of concrete layers that were never acted upon. A more significant flaw was in the design of the control rods that are inserted into the reactor to slow down the reaction. Together with these 2 structural errors, it led to the termination of the Chernobyl power plant.
Due to large amounts of radiation transmitted from the power plant, wildlife has been affected since and is continuing to be inhabited by only those species who can live along the radiation. As for humans, people are prohibited from entering the zone. However, with an official guide from Chernobyl, people are able to stay in a hotel near the location as a tour experience, but have to provide documentation to proper authorities 7 to 10 days in advance. People that are able to live there are elderly people who have lived there prior to the incident, and those who are employed along the area. The people who currently work within the site have to rotate every 15 days with new personnel. Currently, the Russian government is working on a new safe confinement project, a building that will be meant to confine the radiation inside the facility rather than being an airborne threat starting in 2017.